Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name is Bob, I'll be your host. And it's been a while since I've told a story. So we're going to rectify that and I'm going to tell a story in this video. Now, the story I have for you is technically a holiday video, a holiday story that takes place around Christmas, but we're going to go ahead and tell it now because I think we all can use a little weird humor and a laugh given everything right now. But anyway, this story it's about a game I ran in Lamentations of the Flame Princess. And I ran it a couple of years ago for my family on Thanksgiving. And my family's likes dark, twisted horror things, so this was a good game. So anyway, what I did was I took a game that I've run before, an adventure I've run before, for starting players. And it comes from a 3rd edition starter set to get your characters going. And what it is basically the setup is these goblins have kidnapped a unicorn that the locals see as a good luck sign, and the players need to go free the unicorn. And so I used that as a base, and I made it a holiday theme. So here's what happened. The players had to go rescue this unicorn because it was a centerpiece for this festival they were having. If the unicorn shows up at the festival, then there's good luck that year and lots of crops, prosperity, and so forth. But if the unicorn does not show up, it means that it's going to be a bad year, the crops are going to fail, that kind of thing. So the players are hired to go find them. And it was a pretty sizey group. I think I had like 7 people playing. Anyway, they all made up their characters and got hired by the town to go find the unicorn. But the town believes that the unicorn was captured by some goblins and that they're keeping him in this old cabin in the woods. The town themselves don't want to go after it because they're scared of the goblins. So the players go out there and they scope the place out, and by sneaking around, looking in the windows and stuff, they find out there's a total of 5 goblins, 2 of which are guarding the door up front, in front of the cabin, and the other 3 are inside with the unicorn. And the unicorn is like all chained up and like in a sitting position, like a laying position for a horse in the corner. And scarier is they've got a bowl gag in the horse's mouth, which put them at a very ill ease. So that's about as much of teamwork as the players had in this game. After this, everybody decided to try their own thing all at the same time, so nobody was working together. My brother's dwarf went around to the side of the place and was trying to dig his way in. Meanwhile, the magic user had somebody launch him up onto the roof. One of the thieves snuck around and tried to backstab one of the goblins out front, and everybody else was just running around and charging the building, and it was a mess. Well, my niece, who did the backstab maneuver, she actually killed the goblin she was going after, and the others hit the other goblin and engaged him in combat, and due to bad rolls, that combat went on for a little bit. Meanwhile, my brother digs his way inside under the wall of the building and goes to attack the goblins. When he does, he sees they've got a table with all these cooking utensils and knives and stuff laid out. They got a pot of boiling water going, They got all kinds of vegetables they've been chopping. So it looks like they're going to cook the unicorn. So my brother starts fighting the goblins, and it's not going well. Eventually, everybody else finishes the goblin out front, and they burst in the door, and they help my brother out, and eventually they kill off the goblins. So they're getting ready. They go over and they start untying the unicorn. They don't take the gag out of his mouth, but they untie him. And then all of a sudden, somebody shows up at the door. Right? There's a knock at the door. They go and they open the door, and there's this bugbear. And he's green in color, wearing a modified Santa suit. This is the Grinch. And I got his statistics online. Somebody wrote up the Grinch for Dungeons and Dragons, so I just incorporated it into this holiday Lamentations, the Flame Princess game. And they just stare at it for a minute. He looks in, and he sees all the dead goblins. Looks over, and he sees the unicorn sitting there and not being cooked. And they talk to him for a minute. Turns out the goblins, this guy was going to eat the goblins' children, but they offered him a different meal, a special meal, and he leaves their kids alone. So they were going to cook the unicorn for him, and he was going to eat the unicorn and leave their kids alone. But since they've rescued the unicorn, he says, well, now I'm going to just go eat the goblins' kids. And all the players were like, sure, okay, not our problem. And he went to go eat the goblins' children. So that was kind of horrifying for the goblins. So the players get the unicorn out of there, and they start going back to town. And along the way, they pull the ball gag out. And as soon as they do, the unicorn starts talking. And I've done this to them before, so they knew what was going to happen. The unicorn starts talking to them. And the unicorn tells him, oh my God, you are my friends. This is so special. This is magical. Friendship is magic. We're friends now, and that's so magical. And the unicorn kept talking and talking. And they kept telling the unicorn to shut up. And the unicorn kept talking and talking. So when they started discussing putting the ball gag back in his mouth, the magic user jumps up on the unicorn's back. Well, one of the magic users. We had two magic users. He jumps up on the unicorn's back and saws off his horn real quick and says, I will take this for magical components because the unicorn's horn is magic. And when he does, it kills the unicorn. And everybody's mad now because now they're not going to get paid. And he's like, well, unicorns are magical creatures. Every part of it can be used as a magical component for something. So him and the other magic users start cutting up the unicorn, taking his hooves, his organs, and other things for magical components. And they're like, man, we're not getting paid for this. And the villagers are going to be mad. So they decide that they'll replace the unicorn. And they wind up going and stealing this farmer's horse. But the horse is the wrong color. The unicorn was white. The horse is brown with some white splotches. So they get some white paint and they paint this poor horse badly. There's still brown showing. And they're like, well, nobody will notice. We'll get the money and be out of there faster than they can realize it's fake. And they're like, what about the horn? My brother's dwarf says, I got this. And he snatches the horn from the unicorn away from the magic users. He puts the flatter part against the horse's head, takes his big war hammer and goes, whack, and drives the horn into the horse's head. He meant to just put it in a little bit into the bone so it'd stick, but he put it a little too far, and he hit brain. The horse immediately goes cross-eyed and starts staggering, and they hold it up. And the horse is still alive, but he's got brain damage now. So they start leading this horse to town, and it's wandering, walking this way and walking back this way and that way. and he's not doing too well. But they manage to get him back to town, and they take him to the mayor to get their money, and he's like, what is this? Are you trying to cheat us? And the match says, well, we're found out. And he grabs a horn and yanks it out of the horse's head. And he realizes when he does that the horn is now cracked from where the dwarf hit it. So it's not that much of a use to him, but he still thinks he'll find a use for it. And he runs off with the horn. And the horse, once the horn is pulled out, it flops down on the ground and it's just lying there all kind of stunned. And the villagers start getting out the pitchforks and the rakes and the other utensils. And my other players realize that they're in big trouble. So they all run. They don't get paid. And they leave them with this brain-damaged horse and get out of town before the villagers come after them. And that was the end of the adventure, the holiday adventure. I was hoping it would move on to a bigger game from there, but we never got back to play it. But it would have been fun. So that's my unicorn adventure. The moral of the story is, a horse of a different color, I guess. Or something like that. I don't know. So thank you for joining me in this weird story. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.